Hey guys, Kinsey here, and so recently in Seattle we had Emerald City Comicon, which, I mean, it's no San Diego, but it's one of the largest Comic-Cons in the country, and it's awesome. I actually didn't get a chance to go this year because of the Nintendo Switch, but that's a whole other story. But I wanted to be a part of some of the festivities. So one of my favorite breweries is actually doing the official Comic-Con beer this year, and that is Fremont Brewing, and I've reviewed them a couple times on my channel. So I wanted to make sure to just kind of do a quickie little review video about their Comic-Con beer. And I've had the Comic-Con beers in the past. American Brewing did the Flying Monkey Pale, which I think they still have on tap at their tap room, and it's actually really good. So I was really excited to hear that one of my favorite breweries is going to be the official Comic-Con beer this year. And so their beer this year is the Dark Heron. It's an expressive India Pale Ale. And so one thing I really like about this is all the work they put into this label. I actually went to the launch party for this beer, and they had the artists there, and that was really, really awesome. So the label, it has a whole bunch of like descriptions on here, but it's set like as a comic book, and I really like what this beer stands for, and you'll see. So it says, "We are a family-owned craft brewery founded in 2009 to brew artisan brews made with the best local ingredients that we can find. Our hero, Dark Heron, was exiled from her flock for daring to express herself differently than the rest. Forever banished from the Heron fold, Dark Heron vowed to never sacrifice her right to free expression to the tyranny of conformity. Dark Heron stands as a beacon of light and justice, calling to all those who seek to protect the freedom of expression. Dare to be different." And I think that's a really cute message, and I don't know, I just really love it, and I love this beer, and I really want to do this review. So, how about you see the beer? So it's kind of a nice, like, light caramely color. It's an IPA, so it has like a little bit of the like let me taste it. It has some like floral notes. It's a tad bit dank, which I don't like using that word because a lot of people take that as a negative thing, but it's totally not at all. It just has that nice kind, almost wet hop taste, but this isn't a fresh hop beer. It's just kind of what they got going on there. And so I went to the release party, and they even had these cute like trading cards, and this says a little bit more about the beer as well. So yes, it's an India Pale Ale. It talks about that they used 2-row pale, honey, and C15 malts and oats. And they use Hugh melon hops, which is cool. Oh, and the Nelson Sauvin. Pronunciation is hard. But anyways, so because they have the melon hops in there, that gives it a little bit of that like fruity floral kind of aroma, which is great because it does have like, it's kind of melon, citrus, dank, kind of juicy. It's really nice, and I think it's interesting to go with like an official Comic-Con beer as an IPA. Well, an IPA makes sense because it's in Seattle, yes, but when you're trying to, you know, have this wide audience where maybe not all of them are beer lovers, some of them might be like Bud Light people, an IPA can be a challenge. So the fact that they have such a fun like flavor palette on here with like, I know that like some of these flavors, like when I say melon and citrus, like some of these might not sound great in an IPA, but well, citrus does of course, but whatever. I am rambling, but whatever. This stuff is great. Yep. It's great. All right. So, and since I went to their party, they also had some like swag bags. So I figured I should show off some of that as well. So I got this is the actual bag, swag bag. So, and then it had like the trading cards, some stickers, coasters, things like that. And then it also had a poster, which I should probably show. So this is one of the official Comic-Con posters because it's their 15th year. So I got this. And then it also came with this sweet cape. Who doesn't want a cape? So that's fun. It was a really fun kind of release party to go to. There's a lot of cosplay happening, which always makes things way more fun. So it was a very inclusive party, and it was fantastic. And in the spirit of Comic-Con, I wanted to quickly talk about some of my favorite comic books. And for this video, I'm gonna stick to Western comic books because anime and manga is gonna be its own thing. It's its own thing. So to start with is Tank Girl. And so Tank Girl started in the 80s and is still going today. And it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to catch up at this point, and I'm kind of feeling that too because I was late into the series. But it's so fun. She's so sassy, and she's basically this outlaw punk rocker who lives in the Australian outback. She's dating a kangaroo. She's drinks beer and smokes cigarettes all the time. She's wonderful. Smoking is bad. But something about her is just, not that I can necessarily relate to her on all levels, but I feel like I can a little bit, because she's very much an anti-hero, but she's also badass, and she's a woman, and it's just fantastic. I'm sure you've heard of it. There was a movie in the early, sometime 90s, which was not great. Talk about, superhero movies that need to be remade, and that's Tank Girl. Because I don't think it did them justice at all. The kangaroos were super weird in that, and that's not really how especially Booga, that's not how the characters are in the comics. And if the movie ever deterred you from reading the comic books, don't let that stop you. The comic books are a million times better. So, one of my favorites. And then the other one that I'm going to talk about real quick is Fables. And this is very based on kind of fantasy storybook characters. So there's Snow White and the Big Bad Wolf and Little Boy Blue and everybody. And it's basically this thing where they had to escape their homeland, the fairy tale homeland, and now they're secretly living in New York, and it's very kind of detective-y, film noir, kind of more adult humor, and it's awesome. It's so good, and I can't recommend it enough. There's a game that's based on this as well, which is The Wolf Among Us, which is the Telltale series, which is also wonderful. It's still my favorite Telltale series to date, and I feel like it's kind of underrated because, people talk about The Walking Dead and all these other ones, but that one is where my heart lies, and that one I would love to have a season 2. So hopefully eventually we're gonna get that. I don't know, but for now you can just read the comic books, because they've been around a while, not as long as Tank Girl. This started in the mid-2000s and it ended in 2015, so not quite as many issues to catch up on, but it's still wonderful, especially if you're someone who's grown up with Disney and you love all those characters. This is a kind of a great way to move all those characters into adulthood. So it's wonderful. So that was my really quick little video on the Emerald City Comicon beer and some of my favorite comics. And I don't just like video games and beer. I do like comic books and some other nerdy things. So maybe I'll start doing some more videos on, some other things. But of course, video games is going to be my number one always. So we'll see what happens. I'd like to know what some of your favorite comic books are. Be sure to leave a comment below, and as always, thank you for watching, and you can find me on the internet at KinsZilla, KinsZilla, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.